Welcome back to Code with Furkan. In our previous lesson, we installed Python, set up VS Code, and wrote our first Python program. But every program needs a way to store information. Think about a student's name, age, marks, or even a game's score. How does Python remember all of this information? That's where variables come in. Variables allow us to store and manage data inside our programs. Along with variables, we also need to understand data types. Different kinds of information are stored in different formats. Text, numbers, decimal values, and true or false values all have their own data types. By the end of this lesson, you will understand how Python stores information and how to work with the most common data types. So let's get started. Before writing code, let's understand variables with a simple example. Imagine you want to store a person's name. Instead of writing that value again and again, we can store it inside a variable. Think of a variable as a labeled container. In this example, the container is called name and the value stored inside it is Furkan. Whenever we need that value, we can simply use the variable name. Now let's see how variables work in real Python code. Here we are creating three variables. The first variable stores a name, the second stores an age, and the third stores a city. Notice that each variable has a unique name and a value assigned to it. Using the print function, we can display the values stored inside these variables. When we run the program, Python retrieves the values and shows them on the screen. Let's start with a string. A string is used to store text. Any value written inside quotation marks is considered a string in Python. Names, messages, cities, and sentence are common examples of string values. We have integers. Integers are whole numbers without decimal points. Examples include age, quantity, and scores. In our example, the value 19 is stored as an integer. Floats are numbers that contain decimal points. They are commonly used for grades, measurements, percentages, and prices. In this example, the value 3.75 is stored as a float. A Boolean data type can store only two values, true or false. These values help programs make decisions. For example, we can store whether a student is enrolled, whether a user is logged in, or whether a condition is true. Python provides a very useful function called type. The type function tells us what kind of data is stored inside a variable. This becomes extremely useful when working on larger programs. Let's check the data type of each variable and see the results. Common mistakes which many students do. Before we finish, let's look at some common beginner mistakes. Variables names cannot start with numbers. Variable names cannot contain spaces. A common convention is to use underscore between words. Following proper naming conventions make your code easier to read and understand. Practice challenge. Now it's your turn. Create 5 variables: name, age, city, CGPA, and is a student. Then print them on the screen. Pause the video and try it yourself by moving on. Remember, programming is learned by doing, not just by watching. Excellent work. Today you learned variables, data types, and how Python stores information. These concepts form the foundation of almost every Python program. In the next lesson, we will learn how to take input from users and make our program interactive. Subscribe to Code with Furkan and I will see you in the next lesson.